Kenneth and Addie Martinez immigrated to the United States from Mexico in 2011. When given the opportunity to help a family of 4 who recently fled Afghanistan, they jumped at the chance. Kenneth said, "We know exactly what it feels like to come to a brand new country with no family or anything else, and we were happy to help." What we see from Kenneth and Addie is a reflection of the heart of God and what should also be the reflection of the hearts of God's people. After rescuing the Israelites from slavery in Egypt and preparing to bring them into the Promised Land, God shared this with his people through Moses. "For the Lord your God is God of gods and Lord of lords, the great, the mighty, the awesome God, who is not partial and takes no bribe. He executes justice for the fatherless and the widow, and loves the sojourner, giving him food and clothing. Love the sojourner, therefore, for you were sojourners in the land of Egypt." Do you notice the connection? God's heart is filled with compassion and mercy for those who are most vulnerable, the fatherless, the widow, and the foreigner or sojourner. And God commands and desires that his people have a compassion for the most vulnerable that moves them to love, protect, and provide for them. The Apostle Paul repeats this reminder in Ephesians 2. He writes, "So then you are no longer strangers and aliens, but you are fellow citizens with the saints and members of the household of God." He was saying to the Ephesian Christians, you were once strangers to the things of God and foreigners with respect to God's people, but you have received the gracious hospitality of King Jesus, whose compassion for you compelled him to dive out of heaven so that he could saturate you with his merciful kindness. Brothers and sisters, God is doing something amazing in our country. He is bringing the nations right into our own backyard. He's bringing sojourners, foreigners, and strangers from around the world and putting them across the street from us. The question we have the privilege of asking ourselves today is, do I have God's heart for the foreigner among us? Am I so moved by compassion for the most vulnerable among us that I am compelled to cross the street to saturate the stranger in my backyard with the kindness of King Jesus? I'm so glad that you've joined us today because we're going to be speaking with a woman who is helping churches and individuals love the sojourners in their own backyards. You're watching One Day Closer, where we're learning together how to use our one day closer to eternity to shower those around us with the hope and purpose given only by Jesus. Let's go meet our guest. We're here today in studio with Erin Kay from Cru Church Movements to talk about how we can begin reaching the nations in our own backyards. Erin, it's so great to have you on the show and to talk about this really important topic.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. And Erin, just as we start, could you just share a little about yourself with our viewers?
Sure. I've lived in the Lehigh Valley off and on, but since I was in first grade, so This is home for me. Yeah. I grew up in Whitehall. I live in Emmaus now. I'm married to my husband, Matt, for 18 years almost, and I have 3 kiddos, 15, 13, and 9. So yeah, we love the Lehigh Valley. It's home for us, and God has been kind to us here. So
that's great.
Yeah.
And side note, I love your husband.
Oh,
so
he's the best.
Just make that public. What is your role with Cru?
Okay, so Cru is often known for the campus ministry. We serve under a different division of Cru. Love the campus ministry, served with them for several years. But we are part of an organization within Cru called Church Movements. And the heart of Church Movements is to come alongside churches. I was just thinking this morning, just about what the church is, it's Jesus's bride, and just the privilege it is to be part of the church, but also sometimes we're a little battered and bruised, and with Church Movements we get to come alongside one another and strengthen each other for the work of ministry, and it's a real privilege. So we work with 3 audiences, we say, people who don't yet know Jesus, the everyday follower of Jesus, and then pastors, church planters, ministry leaders, to just help strengthen the work of evangelism and discipleship in the local church. So that's Church Movements. And then my role particularly is with a focus towards refugees, urban ministry, immigrants, and indigenous peoples.
Wow.
Yeah.
And could you take some time to define a little bit maybe each of those groups and then how we can maybe collectively understand based on what the scriptures talks about.
Sure. Yeah, the definitions are important. There's a lot of things going around about immigration in particular, so
Yes.
it's helpful to know the distinctions. Refugees in particular are people who were forced to flee their homes due to persecution, war, or violence. So refugees right now, there's 3 times more refugees now than there were 10 years ago.
Wow.
The world is on the move in ways that we haven't seen
Yes.
before. So there's about 120 million people who have been forcibly displaced from
Wow.
their homes around the world, and about 43 million of them are refugees. So they're people that have fled their homes. They probably went to a neighboring country for a safe place, which we would call like an asylum country.
Yes.
And then from there, they're screened, heavily vetted, interviewed. It's a long process. Sometimes can take up to 2 years just to be kind of considered a refugee, and then from there they're able to go to like a more permanent country. Sometimes it takes up to 20 years, it depends,
Wow.
till they're processed kind of through and able to go to a new home where they're able
Wow.
to start again. So that's refugees, and that's where I've spent a lot of my focus over the last 2 years. The word urban just simply means city. There's challenges and opportunities with living in cities, so
Yes.
we want to look at that distinctly. And then immigrants are just simply people who left their home country and made a home in a new one. That's it. There's all sorts of different categories under that, but that's what that is. And then indigenous is just native people. People who have been here the whole time. So, yeah.
So really looking at who are those who can be most vulnerable
Yep.
in our culture. And I can't imagine being forced to leave my home and then having to wait this long process and then being shipped somewhere else.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't imagine. And the need for that love and compassion and community
Yeah.
that's there. And then just in general in our own country, who are those who we need to be loving well?
Yes.
Wow, that's great. What passages of scripture kind of grip your heart as a reflection of God's heart for the sojourner, the stranger, the foreigner among us?
Yeah, there's a lot. I think you read one in your intro, which I appreciated, just the Deuteronomy 10 passage, just talking about the character of God and how he loves the sojourner.
Yes.
I think another one that comes to mind is in Leviticus 19, where it says that you shall treat the stranger who sojourns with you as a native among you. Like treat them as if they were the first people there in your country, right? It says, you shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of
Yes.
Egypt, and I am the Lord your God. And so I think when we think about the ministry to sojourners, if we can't first locate the fact that we're all sojourners, we've all been far from God, felt far from home at times, right? It gives us a certain understanding and compassion of God's heart, how he draws near to us when we feel far off.
Yes.
And when we are far off, not just feel far off. And so it's a deep burden. And then, I think of Revelation 21 and 22. That vision has captivated my imagination the last couple of years, because it's this picture of like when all of this is said and done, right? When the church, like Jesus is preparing his bride and he's coming again. And I love that vision at the end of the scriptures where it's just Jesus is on his throne and the river of life is flowing and the tree of life is like on either side of the river, and the church is adorned as a bride coming down to meet her groom, right? This, like, he has prepared her in that day. Like, there's so much beautiful imagery, and it says that the tree of life that's there in, like, before Christ in the last day is, like, there is a tree of life, and it says the leaves of the tree of life are for the healing of the nations. And it also says that the kings will bring the glory and honor of their nations into this new city of God.
Yes.
And that is like, do we have an imagination for that in the church, that he is doing this and we could join in with him in the work? Or we could, I think there's a lot of language right now around immigration, sojourners, that maybe we could get a little closer and try to just understand the stories and the heart of God. So that's my burden, is just, at the very end, it says the Spirit and the bride say, come. Come with what you don't have. Come without money. Come to the streams of life, which is Jesus, right? And so this is the privilege to be part of his story is incredible.
And and I love that image because it's an adding, right? I think sometimes in our country we can feel above in a lot of ways, but this isn't. These are people who are adding what we need
Oh.
to the body of Christ,
Yeah.
right? And so I
The
love
glory
how
and honor of the nations.
Oh, man.
It's beautiful.
I love it, and it's distinct and beautiful and different, and that together creates this incredible mosaic of
Yep.
God's glory.
Yes.
Ah, so good.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break and then come
Yeah.
back and dive more into that.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back to talk more about how we can reach the nations in our own backyards.
You're watching Lighthouse TV, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This station will feature uplifting faith and family programming.
Programs focusing on defending your faith, defending your freedom, and living as a believer in today's culture.
To find out more about this station and to watch original content, go to lighthousetv.org. Lighthouse TV, positively different television.
Welcome back to One Day Closer. We're here with Aaron Kay from Cru Church Movements talking about how we can reach the nations in our own backyards. So Aaron, we just got a great glimpse of the throne of God and the tree of life and how just bringing all the nations together is going to be a part of how God is magnified and glorified in the new heavens, new earth. And as we talk about that and we try and live that out, now, here on earth, bringing heaven to earth in that reality, what does it look like for us to intentionally move toward the sojourner, the stranger among us? And why is that so important in sharing the love of Jesus with them?
I think when you ask why is it so important, a story kind of comes to mind. There's a guy named Brian Stevenson who's one of my heroes. I love hearing from him, learning from him. And years ago, he told a story that has helped me, and I think it's changed the way I think about life and ministry. So he talked about his grandmother growing up and how she would always get real close to him and just give him like this big bear hug. Yeah. And he loved it, right?
Yeah.
And she had lots of grandkids. She'd do it to all the grandkids. But after a couple hours, she'd look at him sometimes and she'd say, "Brian, can you still feel me hugging you?" And he would say, if he said, no, she would do it again. And sometimes he'd say no just for fun, just because he loved having her hug him. But if he said yes, she would let him go for a little longer. But when she would hug him, she would get real close to his ear and she would tell him, "Brian, there's some things in life, usually the most important things, that you can't understand unless you get close." Wow. And I think that picture is often... it moves me because I think it's like there are a lot of things in our world that we can't understand from a distance. Yeah. So this proximity, this is what Jesus does. Like he leaves heaven and he comes near and he, like scriptures say, he empties himself and he came and laid down his life for us. This is the gospel, that he draws near to us in our brokenness. And so I think there's a lot of stuff that we're hearing right now about immigrants, refugees, the world, but are we close enough to sit across the table and look at someone's face and ask them their story? Yeah. Are we able to understand the suffering, to see ourselves in that story and say, what would I do if I was in that situation? Mm-hmm. Or just like, maybe this is a person, there's just so many different things that you don't experience unless you're close enough to hear their story and to experience hospitality together, experience just friendship. And it changes us. So I think it kind of changes the political climate too, all the stuff that we hear swarming, if we're close enough to hear people's stories and be changed by them. And that's what Jesus does for us.
And the whole nature of our culture, which I guess we should expect because the whole world is under the power of the evil one, right? Mm-hmm. But is not to move toward.
Yes.
It's to open our garage door when we come home from work and then close it, and we don't have to go to the store anymore. We just order from Amazon. If we do go to the store, we can punch a screen instead of talk to a person. It's like everything is moving away from personal interaction, and that just dehumanizes, right, and allows us to continue moving away instead of moving toward. What are some of the barriers that you see in our lives, in churches or in individual lives, just to moving toward the sojourner among us, like Christ moved towards us?
Yeah. Some of the barriers, I think, are just cultural. Sometimes when people are different than us,
Yeah.
we feel nervous. We either are afraid that they're not going to accept us, or we're afraid that we don't like what they're like, right? It's in both of us. Sometimes it's language. Sometimes it's just religion, right? These are all things that keep us far because we think we understand, but maybe would be surprised if we got a little
Yeah.
closer. Some of it, I think, is misinformation. I just saw in the news yesterday someone talking about how people say Jesus is a refugee, but he's not a refugee because he lived in Egypt. He did live in Egypt for 3.5 years, but he wouldn't do anything illegal. And I was like, oh no, refugees are not here illegally. They're not, it's like there's a lot of misinformation around. And even if someone came, it is legal to come to America and ask for asylum, right? These are things that there are a lot of nuances within the conversations about sojourners that we don't understand from afar. But if you get close, it's like, oh, there's stories, people are heavily vetted. They can work from day one. There's a lot of, it's like, oh, we're telling stories maybe about people or things that create barriers that make us want to stay far. And I think those are things, it's like, oh yeah, how do we stay curious? Do I actually understand that? Maybe I could get a little closer. And that's just what our ministry is I don't actually know everything about these topics, but I'm trying to get close enough to understand.
Yeah.
And could the church get close enough to understand the people and the hearts and their stories? So.
Wow, that's so powerful. I love what you said, staying curious.
Yes, that's huge.
One of the best questions I learned in counseling for training for counseling was to ask myself, what don't I know about this? Because it can be easy to project and assume, but when you move close and you ask, what don't I know? Then you start asking questions.
Yeah.
And questions bring you closer because you're trying to understand.
That's right.
Not just assume.
Yeah, and it is complex.
Yeah.
So maybe some of the things that are hard are true. Maybe those things are true, but there's also an underside that you might not be considering. And that's been really eye-opening. It's like, oh yeah, it's both sides,
Wow.
Yeah.
And the foundational truth of the fact that this person at their core is a human being created in the image of God, right? Who needs to know God.
Yeah.
And that's what should drive how we respond to them. Wow.
Yeah.
Why is it so important for us as Christians to become more aware of the sojourner around us? So, there's many here. Why is it important for us to do that?
Yeah. I think I was just thinking this morning about the story of the Good Samaritan, right? The question of who is my neighbor?
Yes.
It's an important question because I think sometimes we could live a couple doors down from someone that is from a different country, culture. So I think that question of who is my neighbor is important just to start asking. Maybe there's people we don't even notice or know their names. But I think that there is just... I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the question.
No, just the importance of moving closer to why it's so important to become aware of.
Yeah.
And it's funny because as I was driving in, thinking about our interview, I drove past Orthodox Ukrainian Church.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder what that's like. I've driven past it many times, but the fact that we're talking about this is just making more aware of the fact of, wow, what is it like for them here?
Yes.
And
they're followers of Jesus.
Yeah.
And the way they worship, the way they probably practice hospitality, the way it's an enriching thing that if we could experience it together, we might be enriched. And they might be enriched by being, I think there's people that maybe are new to the country that have never been invited into an American's home or things like that. And it's these are the things that enrich us. I think loneliness is huge right now in our culture because of what you talked about. We can kind of do everything efficiently, but then we lack the connection, the human connection. And so I think those are the things it's it might actually heal all of us to experience moving toward and hospitality and kindness and understanding. There's just so many different ways that people worship, adore God, or don't, and we're strengthened through the interactions,
Yeah. What does it look like for, one of the things you mentioned is helping churches become more proximate, becoming nearer to the sojourner. What does it look like for a church to begin taking those steps?
Yeah. So there's probably a lot of different ways. I think that question of being curious is like, it might look different for a lot of people. For us, what was cool is about a year ago, I met a guy. There's a guy on the board of Church Movements whose name is Daniel Yang. Some people might have heard of him, but he started a ministry with World Relief called Churches of Welcome. And I met some of his colleagues, another guy named Matt Peace. And their heart is to get churches to sponsor a refugee family that might be arriving for the first time in the U.S. So in the past year, that was one opportunity that was really cool in our local church. A team of 7 of us got together, and we were able to say, yeah, together we think we can kind of sponsor a family. We submitted an application. We said any country, any religion, any language. We'll just see kind of, because I was curious about their story. How do refugees get to America? What does that look like? All that stuff. And so it gave us an opportunity to do that. So we were able to pick up a family. We matched with a family of 6 from Afghanistan. We were able to pick them up from the airport. We found them, we were given a grant. So it was like, there was money provided. We were able to find them a place to live, fully furnish it. The kitchen was fully stocked when they arrived. Other Afghan families in the community that we met through this process prepared a hot meal that was waiting for the family when they got home, which was like pretty late at night, dropping them off in this brand new place. And it's just like those kinds of things. There's a person on our team who helped make sure all the kids were enrolled in school. Others on our team are really good with finances and budgeting. So they've been able to sit with the family and help them understand how that works in America, because it's a different system here than it is there. And it was a beautiful picture of how so many different people's gifts. It's a diamond with many facets, right? And this is the way that we get to kind of like share our gifts in a way that strengthens a family. And we just, now they're kind of like getting settled and they're finding their way. But just to give them a place to land. So I think things like that was a big one, like the sponsorship thing. For some people, it might be, there's like World Relief does something called Welcome the Stranger, Welcoming the Stranger, which is like a small group study where you can go through about 8 weeks, I think, about the heart of God towards the sojourner. So maybe a biblical understanding. The Bible has a lot to say about, it's like all over the scriptures when you start looking for it, about God's heart for the sojourner. So I think some of that, one thing we talk about in Cru is just, we call it the sometimes strategy. But if you meet someone, if you meet someone that's out and you're like getting a conversation and, you know, things come up and you say, sometime I'd love to hear more about your story. And just that little like lead in, it sets you up to ask someone out for coffee or to have them over for dinner. Just those little ways that you can kind of engage and be curious.
And I love the shared spaces that are being created. Right, this is incredible. And people can go on Church Movements, your website, to find more about World Relief if churches want to get connected with that and things, the welcoming churches, things like that.
I would go to World Relief's website, World Relief Churches of Welcome, and just kind of look into it. Right now, refugee resettlement is paused, but coming up actually on April 20th, they're going to reconsider. So we'll see if it opens back up. But there's a lot of helpful information on their website too. They're kind of a partner of ours, so we partner with them, but that's their specialty.
That's and I love that. Just and how the kingdom begins to permeate and it's not, I mean, first of all, just I can't imagine a family coming in and having that kind of welcome and be able to share Christ with them tangibly and then open door for conversations, but then inviting, the other Afghan families, and all of a sudden this community is being created.
We get to have potlucks now together. We get to experience each other's like cuisine. It's a beautiful friendship that starts. They want to learn English, and you try to learn Farsi or whatever, but it's human. It's human, and it's beautiful.
That's so great. Erin, this has been so awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to share about this important ministry that you're doing.
Thank you for having me on.
You bet. Stay tuned. We'll be right back to talk about how we can apply this to our own lives.
You're watching Lighthouse TV, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This station will feature uplifting faith and family programming.
Programs focusing on defending your faith, defending your freedom, and living as a believer in today's culture.
To find out more about this station and to watch original content, go to lighthousetv.org. Lighthouse TV, positively different television.
In Romans 12:13, the Apostle Paul said, "Contribute to the needs of the saints and seek to show hospitality." The word translated in English as hospitality conveys the idea of showing love to the stranger. As the family of God, we're invited to love like Jesus loved. He left the glory of heaven to move near to us so that we could experience His love and His salvation and become part of His family. Loving sojourners and foreigners in our own backyards is an opportunity to reflect God's heart for those who are most vulnerable. In a culture that is teaching us to distance ourselves from others, God is calling us to draw near to others. He is calling us to be the hands and heart of Jesus to other image bearers of God so that they can be renewed and restored in Him. Here are 3 practical steps you can take to start loving your neighbors from the nations. First, learn and listen. Take time to learn about the culture, struggles, and stories of the sojourners in your neighborhood and community. Listen to their experiences with care and curiosity and create spaces for genuine dialogue to occur. Second, offer help and hospitality. Find one specific way to serve a sojourner in your life. Help them with a need that you have learned about, or simply invite them over for a meal so that you can spend some time getting to know them better. Show them that you see them and you value them. Third, take the first small step. Figure out the next small step you need to take to draw nearer to the sojourner in your life, and take it this week. Thank you so much for watching One Day Closer, where we're learning together how to use our one day closer to eternity to bring Jesus-infused hope and purpose to those around us.